Right, so we're on to 2017 here and experiment question again. So question 2A. The apparatus shown was used to prepare and collect ethine. What was observed in the reaction flask as the water was dropped into the calcium carbide? So what we notice is, firstly, I suppose, two things. The flask gets hot if we were to put our hands around it, okay? Secondly, it turns milky. The reaction causes a white. And finally, you see bubbling. And the bubbling is the gas of ethine being given out. Explain why the first test tubes are discarded. Always because they contain air. Remember, this is our diagram here. So the first few test tubes will contain the expelled air from here, okay? So always the first few test tubes will only contain air, oxygen, nitrogen, and so on. So then you're asked to draw a labels diagram for the arrangement and apparatus for the preparation of ethene. I've done that already in a previous slide. But then we'll just look at B, part 2, and you're asked to state and explain 2 safety precautions that should be taken. So obviously our first one is to prevent suckback. Okay, so in order to prevent suckback, we would remove the tube before removing heat. Okay, so that's our really big one there. The second one then is ethanol is flammable. Okay, so because ethanol there is flammable, you'd obviously have to keep the ethanol away from the flame. Okay, so that's just a couple there. There is loads of examples in the marking scheme if you want to go look at those, but those two are plenty sufficient. Combustion tests then are carried out on the ethene and ethine, 2 observations. So in this you're actually pretty much asked to compare. So you have to state ethine, and they both burn with a luminous flame, okay? But ethine has or burns with a smokier or more sooty flame than ethene. And again, we'd have done this when we looked at doing this experiment. You could see the soot coming off the ethene or ethine at the end. Write a balanced equation for the complete combustion of ethine and oxygen. So you need to know ethine, C2H2. Always combustion is burned in oxygen to produce carbon dioxide and water. Okay, so now we'll balance. So I have 2 carbons here, so I need to have 2 carbons here. I've 2 hydrogens here, I've 2 hydrogens there, so we're happy enough with that. If I look here, I've 4 oxygens and 1, so that means 2.5 oxygens is needed here. That's your balanced equation. Your reagent then for testing for unsaturation, and again you have 2, so we have bromine water, and that goes red brown to colourless. Or your second one, which is the one we'd have done, is acidified potassium permanganate, and that is pink to colourless. So either one of those 2 will get you your marks. And then again, part E is stoichiometry. So I have done that already in class. And again, any issues, let me know.